My name obviously is Dr. John Burgess.
Yes.
I'm an assistant professor here at the University of Alabama's School of Library and Information Studies. And for CONSERVE, I work under the Water Social Science Directorate with Katie Chu. And I'm here basically supporting the DigiSeed initiative and pretty much any other initiative that needs someone with an expertise in information and data ethics, which is my line of work. Well, it was that DigiSeed project that brought me in. So the existing team, Jared Margulies and Katie Chu, we're working on a broadly interdisciplinary grant to work to digitize culturally significant seeds, and they needed somebody with an expertise in library and information science who understands the best practices and ethical development of digital databases and is familiar with digital humanities projects. And they cast for the Four Winds and saw that I was into ethics, and voila, we're together. I would say since 2013, I focus on moral reasoning, and so specifically teaching librarians to wrestle with the hard decisions about how to go about preserving access to information, how to support intellectual freedom, how to preserve patron privacy, and how to use their reasoning skills to figure out the best way to go about those things. And anyone who's been keeping an eye on the news lately has noticed that librarians are increasingly active in the space of preserving access to information and ensuring that materials don't get censored. But it's not enough for us to tell them, you must do this. We need to be able to prepare them to do it in ways that are ethical and put the needs of their patrons first. CONSERVE is a wonderful opportunity to build up resilient communities by recovering indigenous and culturally informed ways of knowing. And so beyond information ethics, my other area of practice is sustainability and sustainability ethics. So I teach librarians how to engage with long-term thinking, how to promote the growth of resilient communities, how to spark adaptable communities, one which specifically looks beyond the financial benefits of specific actions and kind of balances that three-legged stool, ensuring that environmental goods and social equity are also emphasized. And specifically, libraries are the OG sharing economy, right? Since literally the middle of the 19th century, we've been finding a way to take things that are very expensive and buy one instance of it and share it with as many people in the community as possible. That used to be just books. Now it's books and computer equipment, and soon it's going to be books and computer equipment and clothes and seeds and basically anything that a community needs to be self-supportive locally. So when I say sustainable hubs, I mean it. We're basically the place to go when you need to talk about food security and access to ways of solving problems that have been known for hundreds of years that maybe because of convenience we've forgotten. So what CONSERVE means to me is a way of thinking about the world that specifically takes the responsibilities we have now and projects them into the deep future to ensure that we're going to be able to thrive and flourish, not just for 10 years, not just for 50 years, but it most clearly fits within water social science, in that LAS research is always going to be about the best way to connect people, information, and technology, and that includes technologies related to water conservation resources. And so we figure out the best ways to use those technologies to apply information fairly. And the research that we do is always in the realm of social science, figuring out how to work best with people in order to use information the most appropriately. Nothing is done independently, right? If we are always going to be reduced to individuals pursuing our own personal needs, wants, and desires, then we're only ever going to sort of satisfy and gratify things as individuals. As communities, however, we can come together and represent mutual interests. We can work together to achieve things that are greater, and it's also harder for us to be atomized and drawn apart in a way that we're seeing increasingly as a result of social media. We're in an ever more polarized world, and the more that we start to think of ourselves not as like a person with a bunch of tags that describes them and more part of a community, the more we can come together and see that we're not so different after all, and we can actually work together to meet those needs that I talked about before. So I think it's not just important, it's pivotal. On the CONSERVE team, we're radically interdisciplinary, right? I mean, just like massively interdisciplinary. And so you can see a footprint of different ways of conducting research and different ways of knowing, but even that only scratches the surface of ways of knowing that already exist. And so when we're thinking about this community-based research approach, essentially what that's doing is we know just enough to know who to partner with in terms of communities with pre-existing, local, bioregional, and indigenous knowledge. And so by working in partnership, we can forward those ways of knowing and forward that like deep wisdom, and then basically just connect with the resources of CONSERVE combined with our knowledge of how, grant writing, the academy, sort of raising visibility work, and by all working together, we can sort of promote that nexus concept. We have people who are so good at community building, so good at relationship building, and so if we're going to do anything good, it's going to be because we're effective listeners as well as effective speakers. And so one of the things that I like most about working with CONSERVE is we are a group of listeners. So if we're going to build up this community, we're going to be doing it by following the good people who already know a lot of wisdom, and then we're just going to work to be kind of like catalysts for that. As a person who teaches in areas of sustainability and reads deeply and is aware of the struggle that comes with maintaining a society, a political space, a community space in a world that is increasingly threatened by climate change, by the loss of biodiversity, by all those things that everybody knows about, I see that we're swiftly coming to a time where we can no longer continue business as usual, right? We have to think of a different way of doing things. And so what I envision, what I see myself contributing to, and what I really hope that CONSERVE will accomplish is finding out what those other ways are. What's not business as usual, but what people who understand business as usual can do to translate from the way things currently work to the way that things could work. So it's a lofty goal, but I'm also really proud of and impressed with the team that's been assembled. And so I think if anyone can do it, we're the ones to try. So I am CONSERVE.